Hello. I miss you guys. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for your patience, for waiting for this. It took me an amount of time that I am not going to disclose to figure out how to do this, to get the technology to work, to get the software to work, and get YouTube accepting my videos as, oh God, it's been a miserable experience, but I do it for you guys. Anyway, welcome to Mr. C's online learning. How about that? We are starting Unit 2 and we're working through marketing. So we're going to start things off with this lesson, which is just an introduction to marketing and the marketing mix. All right. So, learning goals. So, you're going to learn what marketing actually is and what it is not, because that term is used mistakenly quite often. You're going to learn in general what the marketing mix is, and then we're going to gain familiarity with each of the 4 P's. And if you don't know what those are, that's why you're here, is to learn what those things are. So, I will explain. Okay, so people often use the term marketing incorrectly. If I were to ask you what it was, you might be tempted to say the act of selling something. You'd be wrong. Marketing is the process of taking an idea and transforming it into a product that you can sell, hopefully successfully. So in other words, it's how innovation actually occurs. If you guys remember, we talked about how innovation is the transformation from idea to reality. Marketing is that actual process. And so in marketing, what happens is an innovation becomes produced, priced, distributed, and promoted. And then we just blew Keanu Reeves' mind. So I figured I would just show you his mind in the process of being blown. Okay, so the marketing mix itself involves 4 general tasks that are required for the actual act of marketing to take place. Each act, or each P, is very distinctive and very essential to transforming an idea into a marketed product. And so these 4 tasks are called the 4 Ps, and we're going to go through what they are in a minute. We're going to look at these P's individually over the next couple weeks. They're a huge component of marketing. So the 4 P's. There's product, price, place, and promotion. So in each of these P's, different tasks are conducted, different thought processes occur, money is spent accomplishing different things. And so I'm just going to give you the gist of the 4 P's right now. So the first P is product, and this is where you actually decide what is the product actually going to do. Now, when I say product, I mean good or service. So what is the product actually going to accomplish? What makes it different from what's already out there? Hopefully this is ringing a bell in your head about competitive advantages. Wink, wink. And another big one where a lot of thinking time is spent is what it's offering conceptually. Classic example of this is the cordless charger. I don't know if any of you have a cordless charger. I don't know if you do or not. But sit and think for a second. What is a cordless cell phone charger actually giving you? We've had chargers with just USB cords ever since phones have been a thing. And someone decided to come along with a pad that you can put your phone on and charge instead of having to plug it in. Now, when people saw this, they were like, oh my God, this new innovation, we got to go get that. But what is it actually doing? What are you actually purchasing? Like when they first came out, they were like $80, $90. What are you actually paying for? It's not a cool pad. You're not paying for some kind of technological hub. You're paying for a plate, basically, that you can put your phone on. Hopefully you've arrived at a similar conclusion to me at this point. But what you're paying for essentially is a modicum of convenience. Instead of having to find the cord and put the cord in the phone, all you got to do is put the phone on the plate. It's a bit underwhelming, isn't it? Yeah, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for the ability to put your phone down and have it charged rather than put your phone down and plug it in. It doesn't really seem worth the price now, does it? And that's why cordless chargers never really took off. They took off for people who wanted to have the latest innovation, but that's it. So yeah, if you ever wondered why cordless chargers didn't blow up the market, that's why. They don't really do very much. Something to think about. If you don't have a cordless charger, don't get one. They are not worth the price tag attached to them. And speaking of price, what a transition. How smooth was that? Right into price. So what are you selling this product for? How much money are you charging? What kind of price works best? Now, that's a deep question that we're going to address maybe next week. I haven't decided yet. But there's many different ways that you can price something. It's far more than just putting 99 on the end. Is the price competitive? So you need to do some research and find out what your competitors are charging. Place. So this has to do with where you will sell the product and how will you get the product there. You might think that people would just sell their products anywhere they can, but that's not the case. And lastly, promotion. So where and how are you going to advertise this product? And all four of these elements, all four of these 4 Ps have to come together to form a marketing plan. And these Ps are called the marketing mix. And that's what the 4 Ps are. So yeah, each one of these adds a new dimension or a new layer to turning this idea into an actual sellable product. And each P takes it one step closer. So we're going to go a little more in depth, and then that'll be it for lesson 1. So when it comes to product, we look at things like competitive advantages. What separates it apart from the competition? What's going to make people want to buy this over something else? Now, we've covered that in class already. So hopefully you recall that. Products are usually inspired by market research. Very rarely does, you see it on TV all the time where someone says like, man, I wish they did this. And that's how ideas are formed, but that's not how products are made. It's all well and good to have an idea, but you need to do actual research to find out, whether people would use this, if there's even a need for this, and who would want to use this the most. I had planned to try and teach you guys some market research, but I don't think that's going to happen now. With all that's going on. Anyway, so companies spend a lot of money on market research to find, who's going to pay for this product. What will they pay for the product? Do they even want the product? What would they want with it and stuff like that. Is it producible? So, what's actually required to make this product? A lot of ideas that are had don't take off because they can't be made. A classic example of that is the hydrogen cell. Have you guys ever heard of that? It's when I was your age, my high school physics teacher said, if anyone here likes chemistry and really enjoys chemistry, find out how to attach molecular hydrogen to a surface, because that's what a hydrogen fuel cell is, or that's what it's supposed to be. And if you can figure that out, you will be the single richest person that the world has ever seen, because that's what scientists believe the solution to the fuel crisis is. Because when you burn hydrogen, all you're left with is water. So it's a purely clean fuel source. The problem is that people can't figure out how to store the hydrogen in a, quote, fuel cell. So that's why that idea never took off. It's because the product, while it's great in theory, you burn fuel and you're left with water instead of exhaust, but the product is not producible. Oh yes, another thing is the product life cycle. I didn't put it on here, but that's what our next lesson is. I'm not going to expand on it because we have a whole lesson devoted to it. But yeah, the product life cycle is another part of this P. Okay, price. So price is a balancing act between being able to charge enough to earn a profit, but not so much that you drive customers away. It's a balancing act. You're basically figuring out what you can get away with. And furthermore, price sends a message to the consumer. Very often when people see a high price, they believe that price is justified, Like, the saying, you get what you pay for, and that, that message that if the product is good, they will charge a higher price. Most of the time this is true, but not always. Sometimes people who came up with brilliant innovations, they just wanted to get the product out there, so they didn't charge a lot of money. But that having the cheap price tag sent the message to people that it might be a ripoff, that it might be low quality, that it might not work. And so usually a low price is a good thing because people, have monetary constraints. But a lower price sends a message about lower value. Usually a low price sends the message that it's a quick, easy, disposable product that's barely functional, stuff like that. So if you've ever heard the saying, the punishment fits the crime, in this case, the price fits the benefits. Usually. It depends on what your goal is. A high price sends a message of high value, but it also sends a message about exclusivity and status. A great example of that is Off-White. Have you guys ever heard of Off-White? It's for those of you who haven't heard of Off-White, it's a fashion brand, and they specialize in making ridiculously overpriced clothing. I had a student at Bell High School. I had a student there who had an Off-White belt, and he paid, and I'm not joking, he paid $700 for it. Like, what? What? Like $700 for a belt. Not even kidding. And I think I told you guys this, and it's a winch. Like those fabric winches that you see on pickup trucks where you click the handle to get the belt tighter. You know what I'm talking about? It was that. But, to some people and some customers, that actually means a lot, to be able to distinguish themselves from everybody else. And it's a thing. People want high status, high value products. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Place. Okay, so this is the more complicated but essential one. It's also not the most interesting P of them, but it is very important in terms of how we actually get the product to stores, how it's transported, which stores do we want to sell this product in. Excuse me. There's another dimension to this, which we won't be able to get to due to our time constraints, but things like psychological positioning, which I don't know if the school offers the marketing for grade 11, but you might look at that there. But psychological positioning and placement of the product is an interesting facet. But anyway, I just put that there so it's not just distribution channels. But for our intents and purposes, place is all about distribution and where we're going to sell the product and how do we get there. Okay, promotion. This is the creative one. I mean, they're all creative, but this is the one where you make ads and have a good time. So how is the product going to be promoted? And this is arguably the make or break of them all. I mean, if you fail at any of these P's, your product probably won't go very far. But this is sort of the matchstick one, where if you execute this properly, then people will take note and customers will come and buy it. And if you don't, then it might just fizzle. So in terms of promotion, we look at things like how are we going to promote this product? What emotions, experiences, and desires do we want associated with our product? What kind of messages do we want to send? What kind of branding do we want to attach to this product? We'll talk about branding in a couple weeks. How do we achieve what's called top-of-mind branding? We'll expand on that later. Basically, companies are just constantly fighting to keep you familiar with their product. It's why there's ads all over the place, is because they keep trying to remind you, hey, we exist, we're still a thing. We're still selling the thing. Don't forget about us. So yeah, it's basically just trying to keep you or keep them in the top of your mind. And that's it. So bringing it all back. The act of marketing is far more than just selling something. A lot of people say marketing and they mean selling, and it's not the same thing. It involves 4 distinct tasks. Oh my God, did I write 4? Oops, typo. It involves 4. I'll fix that in the actual slides. It involves 4 distinct tasks that each take an idea one step closer to becoming a reality. It's the act of taking an idea and making it into a product that can be sold. This is done by determining how it's produced, priced, distributed, and promoted. And the 4 P's are the marketing mix. And that's it. Lesson 1 in the bag. Hope you enjoyed it. Head on over to lesson 2, and I'll see you there. All right.